Good evening, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, good whenever you're listening to us. Welcome to another episode of Midnight's Edge After Dark for January 10th, 2018. I am, of course, your narrator supreme, Mr. Rob Robot Shlomo, broadcasting from Shabby Road Studios, the home of Patrick Stewart Approved Pizza. I'm not making that up. Go check that out.
Patrick's one hell of a pizza.
Make it so.
Make it so good.
Yeah, make it so exactly. I am, of course, joined by Mr. Tom Connors.
How are we doing today?
Oh, we're doing fantastic. We got a little bit of break in the cold weather. This cold weather snap's starting to snap here. And why don't we just dive right in? Tom, what do we got for news? Kind of a light news day, but we got a couple stories, though.
Two stories about Marvel. First, Black Panther poised to pounce on the box office according to Deadline. The advanced ticket sales seem to be beating Captain America Civil War. If anything, this just shows the power of Marvel and how superhero fatigue is nothing but bullshit. Right, Rob?
Yeah, like I said, it's bad movie fatigue is what it is. It's, there's no superhero fatigue because it's bad movie fatigue. And if a superhero movie happens to be a bad movie, then again, it's bad movie fatigue. But good on Black Panther. I mean, Black Panther is a great character. Has been for a long time. And this has been a long time coming, so phrasing. But like I said, and we'll get more Black Panther movies if this succeeds.
He had a huge presence in Civil War. So, I mean, that, of course, put him out there in the limelight to begin with, so people actually know who he is now. That helps. On top of, like I said, it's a Marvel movie.
Oh, yeah.
They've proven to be worthy of that opening weekend ticket. And sure, I don't think it'll do the $179 million that Civil War did in its opening weekend, because A, that was May. Mm-hmm. And B, that was just Civil War. I mean, come on. But it's probably going to have a huge opening. I'm betting anywhere between 120 to 130, maybe more. It's possible.
I'm thinking a little bit more modest, maybe 80 or 90 million, but it's going to do well. It's going to do very well. And for, like I said, for a superhero that actually, it's not disparaging Black Panther, but not a lot of people are that familiar with Black Panther. They are now through Civil War.
Right.
Like I said, but they played this perfectly. They really did. Well, exciting news for Black Panther, but we also have more Marvel superhero news, don't we?
Yes. As many of us have talked from time to time about a possible Black Widow film. I know you're a fan of lovely ladies, Rob.
Giggity.
Marvel looks like they're one step closer to a Black Widow movie, as it now has a writer in Jack, J-A-C, that is, Schaefer. Marvel, though, is seeming to push forward with the highly anticipated Black Widow standalone movie starring Scarlett Johansson.
Giggity.
Sources say it's still very early in development, as the film has no green light yet, but naming a writer is the closest the studio has come to this point to actually having a Black Widow film happening for sure. So this is good news for any of you guys out there who are, anticipating a Black Widow movie. What do you think, Rob? You think the timing's right? Or?
I think the timing is right now, but I still think that Black Widow kind of works better as a supporting character. If I'm hoping they can make this work, but I'm not sure how exactly. I don't want to see an origin story. I
was going to say, do you think they're going to do a prequel?
I hope not. I really hope not. Because we already know who Black Widow is. Just jump right in and tell a story, please.
If you're really that interested anyway, you can kind of surmise between what she's said in the films thus far and what we've learned on S.H.I.E.L.D. about where she came from. You can kind of figure it out.
Yeah, I kind of piece together. But here's the other problem I have. This writer, Jacqueline Schaefer, whatever her name is.
Right.
I pulled up her IMDb page, and I don't see a whole lot there. No, I'm not just talking a whole lot of quality. I don't see a whole lot there in terms of credits. She has 5 writing credits. Actually, correction. She has 4 writing credits. She's got a Black Widow. Nasty Women, which is in post-production. Olaf's Frozen Adventure, which is a short. Something called Mr. Stash, which is a 2011 indie film.
You sure that wasn't the working title for Justice League?
Oh boy. I wish I thought of that one. Anyway, another movie called Timer, starring Emma Caulfield Ford. And it stars a lot of the same people. Must be a lot of her friends, actually. She has 2 producer credits, one for Timer, one called Foster Stories, 1 director credit, Mr. Stash, and for Timer, 1 thanks for Maria My Love, and 1 self-credit as an actor-actress as herself from something called Cinema 3.
Which is a TV show, so I'm assuming it's just an interview, probably.
Yeah.
We can't really speak to the quality of what she's written.
Because nobody's seen anything.
Yeah, other than the Olaf thing, which... Honestly, wait. She has 1 more writing credit for something called The Shower, which sounds like a dirty movie, but I don't think it is. But okay, listen, I understand. New ideas have to come from somewhere, but that's how we got Ryan fucking Johnson. Jesus, we've gone down this auteur like indie filmmaker road before. I mean. Really? Okay, fine. No, I don't want anybody like David S. Goyer, okay? But there's got to be somebody you can find. I mean, unless this pitch really wowed Kevin Feige. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe it might have. Or maybe she's a secret nerd and she's a big comic book fan. I don't know. I wouldn't know her from a hole in the ground. But at the same time, I don't understand why they would go down this route. I really don't.
No, and I totally understand how you're feeling, because... This is what happened with Ryan Johnson when they gave him too much power. They let this guy just kind of have free reign, however you want to put it. But at the same time, I trust in Feige. I trust in Feige enough that I don't think he's going to let something bad happen.
Yeah. Well, he's said no to enough people that you kind of would think that he knows what he's doing by now, and he's had so much success that he wouldn't take a chance on somebody unless he believed them. And we're talking about divisiveness. Actually, we shouldn't put too much, even though we really shouldn't put too much stock into the Last Jedi has finally gone underwater. It's currently sitting at 49% on Rotten Tomatoes audience score. But like I said, I'm hoping Kevin Feige sees something in her. I hope he was wowed by her pitch. We're gonna have to wait and see.
Fingers crossed it's not a prequel and it is a sequel, and I would gladly invite either several cameos or a co-star, much like Hulk co-starred with Thor. I could see a Hulk and Black Widow movie. I mean, they've got kind of an unfinished thing going on there, so.
Yeah. Well, Daredevil was always paired up quite often with Black Widow in the comics, so.
I think you brought that up before. That would be a great way to introduce Daredevil into the movies if they wanted to go that route, you know.
And to finally tell people that this is indeed the same universe and stop saying it's not.
We just seem to have a ton of Warner Brothers news lately, but of course that's going to happen when there's tons of shaking up. Boy, everybody's got to be getting like seasick over there and stuff by now. As much shaking up is going on. Just as the first line in this Variety article says, there's a whole lot of shaking going on at Warner Brothers Studio over the past month. This is so true. This week, in a major management shift, Toby Emmerich was put in charge of all film operations with expanded duties, and the studio's veteran worldwide marketing and distribution chief Sue Kroll out of her role and into an exclusive production deal on the lot. In early December, after the box office disappointment of Justice League, Warner pushed out John Berg, the executive overseeing the studio's DC films at that time, and now he's hanging out with Roy Lee on the lot, I guess. And a week ago, promoted its New Line executive Walter Hamada to the new role of Shepherd of the DC Universe, which we talked about in a recent show, and of course Andre covered in a recent editorial. The elevation of Emmerich to chairman of the group is long overdue by Warner Brothers Entertainment CEO Kevin Tsujihara, who had been reluctant to take a step back from his hands-on role, and he has insisted on micromanaging the film division, basically. So this is not surprising. There's a quote here. Tsujihara said this is the best organized structure for Warner Brothers. Noting Emmerich's promotion, he means you have one person accountable or responsible for putting together the slate. He says he's still going to be involved, so, you know, obviously he's on the way out. I know there's another quote in here that says something about that this has nothing to do with the AT&T shakeup, which is true, because I have a feeling that there's going to be a ton more that goes down when that actually happens. Again, not surprising. Toby Emmerich, though, he's an interesting gentleman. He's been with the company, especially through... He had a New Line for the longest time.
As long as Tom Rothman's not working there, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and Emmerich has, for every Elf and, you know, Austin Powers on his list, there's stuff like Blade Trinity and Son of the Mask. So,
well, if Toby Emmerich can work his way up the ladder, then great. Yeah, we'll see. You know, like I said, performance dictates everything. So they must see something in him that said this is the guy.
I actually emailed him about 20 years ago, and he emailed me back. But
really, oh wow.
Anyway, it wasn't anything exciting. But this guy has been there through everything: Austin Powers, the Blade movies, Lord of the Rings, all that stuff.
New Line had some of his best years under him then.
I mean, snakes on a fucking plane.
Oh, yeah. There you go. That's the mark of quality.
Anyhow, the Rush Hour films, you name it. He was one of the guys who's been there since the late 90s, you know, from the time it went from being the house that Freddie built to a real studio.
Yes.
But it was all under Warner Brothers kind of thing.
Well, Warner Brothers was...
Warner, but yeah.
Not like that Warner Brothers money, so...
Oh, yeah. Who would?
All right. So what else have we got?
Not much, sir. Why don't you just take us on into the roundup? Yeehaw!
Ladies and gentlemen, for the roundup. Well, buckaroos, time to saddle up that horse and head on out tomorrow. We're going to have ourselves roundup. Yeehaw! Stampede! You remember that old game by Activision, Stampede? That was a great game.
Yeah. Where you lasso and...
rope the calves, yeah. If for you kids out there, the Atari used to make game consoles. So
Red Dead Redemption before there was Red Dead Redemption.
Yes. It's so simple, but it kept you entertained for hours. So anyway,
all right.
So we got a little Deadpool news. Deadpool director Tim Miller is developing a Kitty Pryde movie. This comes to us from Movies.com. One of the most successful superhero movies of all time, Deadpool, has also become one of the most influential. The R-rated Marvel Comics adaptation has proven not to be a fluke phenomenon, now that fellow Fox release Logan pulled off a similar feat without being very family-friendly. Boy, there's a lot of F's in there. So understandably, Fox and other studios are trying to replicate those critical and box office victories with other edgier comic book properties. Fox has a few movies in the same franchise coming out this year, including the X-Men spin-off, The New Mutants, which might not similarly aim for an R rating from the MPAA, but has a gritty horror-inspired story and tone. Gambit is the only thing greenlit, but other potential installments are in development, such as James Franco's hard R-aiming multiple man movie and an X-23-focused Logan spin-off. But Collider has just confirmed a Kitty Pryde solo spin-off movie is in the works. Pryde, who has also gone by the monikers Sprite and Shadowcat, has also appeared in 4 of Fox's X-Men movies in the past, initially with minor cameo appearances by different actresses, then portrayed by Ellen Page in X-Men The Last Stand and X-Men Days of Future Past. Deadpool director Tim Miller is actually the one leading this project, which may or may not actually go into production down the road. May or may not be a Kitty Pryde movie. We'll see how much Marvel has to say about it when the merger's final. So
pretty much, yeah, that's I think what it's going to weigh on. And if not, this is one of the first
casualties.
That very well could be, but this could be one of the first X-Men movies that Disney is a part of, because, as I've said, I don't see them jumping into the A-list X-Men right away.
No.
I see them bringing in smaller characters first, and there's already the word mutant, I guess, showed up on one of the shows. I can't remember which one it was, but anyway.
All right. Well, anyway, moving on. I'm not that familiar with Millie Bobby Brown.
More Bobby Brown than Millie Bobby Brown, but that's my prerogative.
It's my prerogative. Yeah. Well, anyway, Millie Bobby Brown is set to star in a film series based on Enola Holmes novels. Not familiar with those either. This comes to us from Variety. Legendary Entertainment has closed the deal for Stranger Things actress Millie Bobby Brown to star in a film series based on Nancy Springer's Enola Holmes Mysteries novel series. Brown will also produce through her PCMA Productions banner. Oh, wait a minute, how old is she? She's already got a production company?
She's like 10 or 12 or something like that, yeah.
Dear God.
Hey, she was the big breakout star of Stranger Things,
I missed the boat on a lot of this stuff. Jeez, I imagine all the money I could be raking in. Well, anyway, the book series began with the 2006 title, The Case of the Missing Marquess, and covered 6 novels revolving around the mysteries investigated by Sherlock and Mycroft Holmes' much younger sister. Alex Garcia and Ali Mendez will oversee the project for Legendary. Okay, so first I gotta say, the character of Sherlock Holmes is actually now public domain. You could do anything you want with it.
And this is what they did.
And this is what they decided to do. No, yeah. So, whatever. So, Tom, are you a fan of the Critters movie?
Indeed I am, actually. Very big fan. And speaking of New Line Cinema earlier, that was one of their first big hits after Nightmare on Elm Street in 1986.
Okay, well, actually, you're going to like this story. This comes to us from JoeBlow.com. Critters' new binge TV series has just been announced. And this is actually how Joe Blow has written it. Hell yeah! In what has got to be the coolest news I've heard in a few weeks, Verizon's Go90 has ordered an all-new series based on the cult classic Critters flicks. The series is called Critters: A New Binge, and it is coming our way from Blue Ribbon Content, the Warner Brothers television digital studio. And the series will begin production in early 2018.
Should have said rolling our way.
Series synopsis is: the Critters return to Earth in search of one of their kin who was left behind years ago during an earlier mission. They land in Burbank, California, where they wreak havoc on a group of high schoolers and their families.
I'm in.
Okay. The new series is directed by Jordan Rubin, who will write and executive produce alongside John Kaplan and Al Kaplan. Original Critters producers Rupert Harvey and Barry Opper are on board as well.
Sweet.
Critters: A New Binge begins production in early 2018. Now, they used to eat people, right? Those little bad ball things?
These do eat people. And the more they ate, the bigger they got. I hope they get Scott Grimes at least for a cameo one here and there. He was the kid in the first original film, and if you don't know that name, obviously, he is on the Orville.
Oh, yeah. So, he's also on American Dad. So
yeah, he does voices on American Dad. He was on ER and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm not that big a horror fan or schlock fan or whatever, but okay, well, whatever. People enjoy it.
It was kind of more sci-fi than horror, but it does kind of fall into that arena. But yeah.
So anyway, we had some sad news, actually. Donnelly Rhodes. Now, if you don't recognize that name, he was in Battlestar Galactica. Well, sadly, he has passed away at the age of 80. Donnelly Rhodes, who played Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sherman Cottle on the Battlestar Galactica reboot, died Monday, CTV News reports. He was 80. The Canadian actor, who was also known for his portrayal of Dutch Lettner on the TV comedy Soap, died at the Bailey House Hospice in Canada following a battle with cancer, according to CTV News. I used to love Soap. Soap was a great show.
Well, and Battlestar Galactica was, I think, we both watched that probably as kids, so.
Oh, yeah. Soap was actually one of the few series that ended on a cliffhanger. And what no, but
I remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, they had planned a cliffhanger, and then the series got canceled. They were going to come back for season 5, and the series got the plug pulled. So
it's nothing new for that to happen.
Yeah, I remember a lot of networks. Some networks used to run at 11:30 at night because they thought it was too controversial. But anyway, we never like to end on a down note. We have some birthdays to acknowledge. For January 10th, Walter Hill, writer-producer Walter Hill. He turned 76. Sal Mineo. He was
Salmonella?
He was born on January 10th in 1939. He passed away in 1976. Fran Walsh, Peter Jackson's wife and writer, turns 59. A name I'm very familiar with, Linda Lovelace, was born on this day in 1949, and sadly she is no longer with us. Yeah, well, she had a lot of health problems later in her life. So. Yeah, and it was almost tragic, what they put her through.
Yeah, it's pretty tragic considering everything, but this next one. This is a big one, yes.
Yes, Bart the Bear. Now, if you're wondering who Bart the Bear was, if you've ever seen The Great Outdoors, if you've ever seen The Bear, if you ever seen On Deadly Ground, and if you ever saw The Edge.
And a million other movies or TV shows that had a bear in it between 1980
commercials.
Yeah. The most famous probably of all the bear actors out there, other than Grizzly Adams Bear, Ben.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly, and and Melvin Adam, actually, who was a producer of my show. He's also a relative of his. Anyway, Bart the Bear was born on January 10th. 1977. Yeah, he passed away in 2000. Lived to the ripe old age of 33.
Hey, for a bear, that's probably not too bad. I don't know how long bears usually live, but the great outdoors.
Yeah, oh yeah. Stomping on John Candy. I remember that was
Bald bear,
hysterical.
yeah. If you kids haven't seen The Great Outdoors, do yourself a favor. John Candy, Dan Aykroyd, you can't go wrong.
Yeah. Actually, we have another birthday, January 11th. Alexander Hamilton. Now, before he was a star on Broadway, he was actually one of our founding fathers.
Indeed he was.
And yes, indeed he was.
And that's
Yes.
because there is absolutely no celebrity birthdays. January 11th of real notation.
And actually, there is one for January 12th. There is a very important birthday. I have to bring up Howard Stern.
Well, we'll talk about him then on our weekend show, I guess. Because I know
Yes.
you're a huge fan, so you'll get a little more time to talk about that. But Rob, if they do like the birthdays and all the other stuff we do, even if they don't like the birthdays, tell them what they can do anyway.
Well,
And not that.
Yes. Yes. If you do like what we do here, you can click on the subscribe button and you can click the bell icon. That way you're notified of all the latest content that is uploaded. And if you really like the show and you like what we do here, then you can actually support the show through Patreon. Patreon supporters will get all kinds of bonuses. They will get early notice for mini documentaries. You'll get sneak peeks of mini documentaries. You'll get early access to mini documentaries and specials. Patreon subscribers got the Trek Log animation early. They got all Patreon supporters over Christmas. They got the Last Jedi Roundtable early. Wasn't that correct?
Yes, they did. And actually, everybody got a New Year's gift as well and got a few hours early access to the latest editorial as well. So you'll get that kind of stuff from time to time, along with great exclusives like Beyond the Edge, which is the making of Midnight's Edge. From Andre's mouth to your ears, he tells you the story of how Midnight's Edge came to be, and he'll tell you the story of how we came into the fold and all that kind of stuff. It's like a book on tape almost. It's really cool though.
Yes, it is. And as I always say, you'll get outtakes, you'll get bloopers, you'll get lost episodes, you'll get all kinds of neat stuff, all kinds of Patreon exclusives. And if you don't have the means to support us through Patreon, please click the subscribe button and click the bell icon as always, and share with all your friends.
Yeah, please share as much as you can, because revenue is desperately way down.
The YouTube algorithm is really putting the screws to a lot of the smaller channels, us included. We don't know why. We think we have our suspicions, but we really don't want to get into it right here. And also, like, before we sign off, we'd like to throw a shout out to our good friend Dictor Van Doomcock, and we're going to have a very special announcement when it comes to Dictor Van Doomcock. Isn't that right, Tom?
Yes, sir. We are gaining access to his lair. I think they're going to knock us out, just to warn you.
Yeah, they're gonna do the old KGB thing. They're gonna put a bag over our heads, tie us up, and hustle us into an elevator to the secret lair.
But yeah, Rob had to go through a lot to get us here,
yes.
And I watched.
Yes, I told you we weren't going to talk about this. We have another Trek. We have the Trek Log returning, don't we?
I am working on it, but it was a long episode, and we had she's a commander now, right?
Yes, we have promoted Ren to commander.
Commander Ren joins us as well.
Yes, Commander Ren has joined us for the Trek Log, and I think you're going to be enjoying that. And before we go, I don't know why we're not talking about this. Now, okay, I have to first preface this by saying I am not receiving any money from TBS to say anything about this, but I want you to check out something called Final Space. The trailer for Final Space, the pilot episode. It is a new animated series that's going to be premiering soon on TBS. I don't know why more people aren't talking about this, but please check it out. It is outstanding. If you're a fan of Rick and Morty, if you're a fan of sci-fi in general, I think you're really going to like this. Tom, you've watched it, haven't you?
Yeah, it's got that sci-fi Rick and Morty kind of animated feel to it. But yeah, I mean, if TBS wants to send us a check.
Yes, I don't, and like I said, I don't normally plug these kind of things unless I really see something in them, as you all know. But it's made by a guy named Olan Rogers, and that is going to be coming as a series produced by Conan O'Brien on TBS. And it's got a lot of co-stars: Fred Armisen, David Tennant, Andy Richter is attached to it. A lot of noble names. So check that out. And if this thing is, like I always say, if it's successful, then we get to see more of it. That's the thing. So one more time, I am your narrator supreme, Mr. Rob Robot Shlomo.
And I am Desperate. And I'm Tom Connors.
Thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time.